In the high-stakes world of American politics, friendships are rare. Trust is fragile. And loyalty, even more so. For years, Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk were seen as an unbreakable duo, two of the most outspoken conservative voices of their generation. They spoke at rallies together, appeared on podcasts, and built one of the most powerful grassroots movements in America. But all that changed after one shocking morning. When the news broke that Charlie Kirk had suddenly died, everything they built together came crashing down. At first, the headlines called it a tragic accident. But within days, that narrative started to unravel, thanks to one person, Candace Owens. Candace didn't just mourn her friend. She questioned everything about his death and the people surrounding him. And when she began dropping cryptic posts, the internet exploded. Because her words didn't just point toward government cover-ups or random tragedy. They seemed to point directly at Charlie's wife, Erica Kirk. Before this storm, before the accusations, Candace and Charlie were a team unlike any other. They were young, confident, and unapologetically conservative. Together, they spearheaded Turning Point USA, mobilized students across America, and redefined right-wing youth activism. At events, they often appeared side by side, sharing stages, laughter, and friendship. They didn't just agree politically, they shared a vision of reshaping how the next generation thought about freedom, faith, and America's future. Their chemistry on stage was electric. Candace once called Charlie my brother in battle. And Charlie described Candace as one of the fiercest minds I've ever known. So when news broke that Charlie had died suddenly, the shock wasn't just national, it was deeply personal for her. To the world, they were colleagues. But to Candace, Charlie Kirk was family. It began on an ordinary morning, or at least, it seemed that way. Breaking news alerts flashed across phones and news sites. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk dies in sudden tragedy. Early reports were vague. Some mentioned a medical emergency. Others hinted at an unexpected incident that occurred at a private residence. No one really knew what happened. And that uncertainty created a vacuum. Within hours, Turning Point USA released a brief statement asking for privacy and respect. The family, including his wife, Erica Kirk, made no public comment, but what caught many people off guard was Candace Owens' silence. Normally, outspoken on every issue, Candace said nothing for several days. No tweets, no podcast episodes, no tributes, nothing. And then, everything changed with one cryptic post. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the people who claim to love you. The internet erupted. Was she talking about Erica? Was she hinting that Charlie's death wasn't an accident? No one could say for sure, but everyone had theories. A week later, Candace finally spoke on her podcast. Her tone was calm, but her message was chilling. There are pieces of this story that don't make sense. I've seen things, I've heard things, and I can't pretend it's all normal. Something isn't right. She didn't name names, but her words carried weight. Listeners immediately began dissecting her comments. Clips went viral across X and TikTok. And suddenly, the tragedy turned into a conspiracy. Fans began combing through every photo, every timeline, every public record involving Erica Kirk. Some pointed to her social media behavior, how she had quietly deactivated her Instagram just days before Charlie's death. Others noticed that she hadn't spoken publicly since. In the absence of answers, suspicion grew, and Candace's words added fuel to the fire. Then came one of the strangest twists in the story, the private jet theory. Candace claimed on her livestream that she had obtained credible information about a small jet that left Provo, Utah, hours after Charlie's death. According to her, the jet's flight logs showed something odd. It disappeared from radar for nearly 4 minutes before reappearing hundreds of miles away. She implied it was no coincidence, suggesting that the flight might have been used to move someone quietly out of the area. Online, investigators pounced on the story. YouTubers began analyzing flight data, overlaying maps, and even claiming they had evidence that Erica herself had traveled secretly around that time. None of this was ever confirmed. But in the age of online media, truth doesn't always need proof, it only needs momentum. And Candace had all the momentum in the world. While the online chaos raged, Erica Kirk maintained complete silence. She didn't post tributes. She didn't attend interviews. She didn't even show up at public events hosted in Charlie's memory. Her absence became its own mystery. Some people defended her, saying she was simply a grieving widow, choosing privacy over spectacle. But others, especially Candace's followers, took it as confirmation that she had something to hide. Rumors swirled that Erica had already moved out of their shared home. Others claimed she was under investigation by private investigators hired by Turning Point insiders. Meanwhile, Candace began saying things like, "Sometimes silence says more than any statement ever could." Her comments were vague, but powerful, leaving the audience to connect the dots themselves. Then came another shock. Candace Owens revealed during one of her shows that she had not been invited to Charlie Kirk's private funeral. She said she found out about it through social media. "Like everyone else. I thought we were family," she said, visibly upset. I've stood beside that man for years, defended him through every controversy, and yet, I wasn't even told where he was being buried. Her words drew sympathy, but also fueled anger. If Candace was that close to Charlie, why was she being shut out? Rumors suggested that Erica had requested she not attend. Some claimed that Turning Point USA's board wanted to avoid media spectacle. Whatever the reason, that decision solidified one thing. There was now a clear line drawn. Candace Owens versus Erica Kirk. Weeks later, the story took another unexpected turn. Candace went live again, this time claiming that Charlie had been in a heated argument with a prominent billionaire days before his death. She didn't say who, but she gave enough clues that viewers quickly connected the dots to businessman Bill Ackman, who had previously collaborated with Turning Point USA on financial campaigns. She alleged that this power struggle may have been tied to financial disagreements and political manipulation. Ackman's team quickly denied it, calling her claim baseless and defamatory. But the damage was done. Across YouTube and Reddit, theories multiplied. Was Charlie's death connected to money, to internal conflicts at Turning Point, or, as Candace subtly implied, to someone much closer to him? By now, this wasn't just a story. It had become a cultural obsession. As the theories spread, the conservative movement itself began to fracture. Some figures, including online influencers and pastors, publicly sided with Candace, praising her for seeking justice. Others accused her of exploiting a tragedy for views. Behind the scenes, sources claimed that donors and staffers were quietly leaving Turning Point, unable to deal with the internal tension. Some blamed Erica for closing ranks. Others blamed Candace for creating chaos. It was a painful irony. The movement that once preached unity and strength was now collapsing under suspicion and infighting. Even former allies of both sides refused to speak publicly, fearing the backlash. Everyone was waiting for clarity, for closure, for something definitive. But none came. Amid all this turmoil, the Kirk family itself was reportedly divided. Certain relatives were said to be uncomfortable with Erica's silence, while others begged Candace to stop. A few even accused her of turning their grief into a public performance. But Candace didn't back down. She said, "If speaking the truth makes me the villain, then so be it." Church leaders who once supported both of them pleaded for peace, urging followers to let the Lord reveal the truth in His time. But online, faith was no longer the center. Drama was. Thousands of fans took sides. #Team Candace versus #Team Erica became the new digital divide. Months have passed since Charlie's death, and yet the questions remain unanswered. No new evidence, no police reports released publicly, no definitive cause of death disclosed. Candace Owens continues to stand firm. She insists there are missing details, and has promised to release everything she knows if authorities continue to hide the truth. Erica, on the other hand, remains silent, living away from public view, reportedly focusing on healing privately. To some, her silence is a mark of grace. To others, it's a mask for guilt. But no matter which side you believe, one truth stands out. This story isn't just about death or betrayal. It's about the power of influence, the fragility of trust, and how quickly truth can vanish in the noise of the internet. And that brings us to the question haunting millions of viewers. Was Candace Owens truly revealing hidden truths? Or was she rewriting the story to fit her own narrative? Was Erica Kirk a grieving widow, or a woman hiding something darker? Could it be that everyone involved has become trapped in a web of tragedy, grief, and speculation that no one can escape from? Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. This story will continue to echo across social media, podcasts, and political circles for months, maybe even years to come. This has been the Royal Spotlight. If you've followed this story closely, tell us in the comments below. Do you believe Candace Owens is uncovering the truth, or creating one? Thank you for watching.